So about 2 years ago, I had a patient who came into my office and his blood pressure was 200 over 110. And I was like, you should go to your cardiologist right now. Funny enough, he had just left his cardiologist's office and they let him out with that blood pressure. That blood pressure is a really, really big deal. When you have high blood pressure, what that means is that the blood vessels are basically getting pounded with a ton of pressure. That's why you want a lower blood pressure. Obviously, too low of a blood pressure is also bad because you still have to have the blood circulate through the whole body, and there has to be enough pressure to push that blood into your head, push it into your toes, right? So I have a friend who's a chiropractor, and he told me he could lower blood pressure. I didn't actually believe it could be done, but what choice did I have, right? So I called him up. His name is Dr. Fred Schofield, and I said, Dr. Fred, walk me through your protocol for lowering blood pressure. And he did. And I dropped that patient's blood pressure to 140 over 80 that day. I then went home and stared at a wall for 2 days because I couldn't believe you could actually lower people's blood pressure. But now my job is to figure out how to help all of you who can't be in my office do that without me. Okay, so the first thing I would tell you is this. A lot of people are told that their blood pressure is high genetically. Okay, well, let's talk about genetics for a second. Blood pressure depends on cardiac function and it depends on all the arteries. So if your arteries are crusty because they're covered in cholesterol, yeah, now they can't do this. They can't constrict and dilate like they need to. So the first thing I tell you is if you want to lower your blood pressure, try to stay away from all the sugars. And by sugars, I mean bread, pasta, brownies, cookies, even fruits at that point. Because what happens is that the blood vessel gets micro tears in it, and then the cholesterol has to plug the tears so that all of a sudden the blood vessel isn't doing what it needs to do. So people who have high blood pressure and they're told they have high cholesterol, you probably actually have a sugar problem. So that's the first thing I would tell you to do in terms of your diet. But that patient I had, I needed an immediate fix, right? So what I did was I did an adjusting technique with him, but I did a breathing technique with him too. The breathing technique you can do on your own. So if you get a chance, there's an app. It's called the Wim Hof Method. Wim Hof is amazing. And if you can learn how to do his breathing technique, it's not going to hurt you any. The app is free. What I would recommend that you do is where it says interactive breathing, do 3 rounds of his breathing and do the breath retention while you are lying down. All I ask is that you do this. Take your blood pressure before you do the method. Take your blood pressure after you do the method. So now you got 2 things, right? You've got limit the amount of sugar you have, then you have the Wim Hof Method app. Now here's the next thing I want you to do. I want you to stop breathing through your mouth. Breathe through your nose. Every time you breathe through your nose, you let out endothelial nitric oxide synthase. Big word, all it means is that something that protects your blood vessels, every time you breathe through your schnoz, you activate that, okay? So breathe through your nose, less through your mouth. If you want a really good explanation, James Nestor has a book called Breath. It's got all kinds of information in it, but breathing through your nose is really gonna help you because it changes the physiology of the body. So, change your sugar, change your breathing technique, breathe through your nose. If you don't believe me, just try it. What harm is it going to do you, right? It's free. And please let me know how you do because I'm curious as well.